I created this lampshade cover because I couldn't find one that was the look I wanted at an affordable price. The lighting kit was only $20 at Lowe's, and I purchased the lampshade at a thrift store for $1.50. I was infinitely happier with the cost, and I love the simple beauty it adds to my room. For this tutorial, I'm going to show you this smaller lampshade here. If you wish to see a list of supplies, see the description box below. To begin, you need to have a lampshade that is pretty uniform in size and doesn't really alter in size. Mine is 8 inches by 8 inches or 20 centimeters by 20 centimeters. So basically, you work your lampshade cover from top to bottom, and the fringe will hang down at the bottom. And the entire piece is worked in the round from top to bottom. So you will want to make a chain in multiples of 12 until it fits snugly to your lampshade. You do not want it to be loose. You want it to fit snug. Being careful not to twist your chain, slip stitch into the very first chain made to make a ring. Now you will chain 6. This will count as a double crochet in a chain 3 space. Now you will make a double crochet in the same stitch. As you can see, it looks like a V stitch. Now you will chain 3 and skip 5 stitches. In the 6th stitch, you will make a double crochet, chain 3, double crochet, all in the same stitch. Chain 3, skip 5 stitches. In the 6th stitch, make a double crochet, chain 3, double crochet. From here on out, I will refer to this as a V stitch. As you can see, I have 3 V stitches here. Separated by a chain 3 space and 5 stitches between on the bottom. Just repeat this all the way around till you get to the end. Here I am at the end. I'm going to do my chain 3, skip 5. And that brings me back to my beginning chain 6. Slip stitch into the 3rd chain. Now slip stitch into the top of the V stitch. For round 2, we will begin by making a chain 3. That will count as a double crochet. Make 2 more double crochet in the same chain space. Now you will chain 3 and make 3 more double crochet in the same chain space. This is how it should look. 3 double crochet, a chain 3 space, and 3 more double crochet. Skip the next chain 3 space. We are going to work into the top of the next V stitch. Make 3 double crochet in that chain space. chain 3, and make 3 more double crochet in that chain space. I'm going to refer to this as a cluster V-stitch from here on out. We are going to be making a cluster V-stitch in the top of every V-stitch in the round below. You do not chain between the cluster V-stitches. Skip the next chain 3 space and make a cluster V-stitch in the next chain 3 space. That's 3 double crochet, chain 3, and 3 more double crochet in the same chain space. Skip the next chain 3 space and make another cluster V-stitch in the top of the V-stitch below. You will just continue making cluster V-stitches in the top of every V-stitch below, all the way around until you get to the end. Here I am at the end. I'm skipping the last chain 3 space, and I'm going to slip stitch into the top of my beginning chain 3. Now, before we begin round 3, I need to be in that chain 3 space. So I'm going to slip stitch into each stitch until I get to the chain 3 space. I'm going to slip stitch into the chain 3 space so that I can begin round 3 in that space. Now we're going to chain 6. That counts as a double crochet chain 3. Place a double crochet in the same space. That counts as a V-stitch. Chain 3 and go to the next chain 3 space. Place a V-stitch in the chain 3 space at the top of your cluster V-stitch below. Chain 3. Place a V-stitch in the next chain 3 space. Chain 3. Place a V-stitch in the top of the next chain 3 space. You should see a pattern forming here. We are putting a V-stitch in the top of every cluster V-stitch separated by a chain 3 space. This is what it should look like. A V-stitch in every cluster V-stitch and a chain 3 space in between each one. You're going to repeat this pattern all the way around till you get to the top of the last cluster V-stitch. So here I am at the end. I'm doing my last chain 3, and I'm going to slip stitch into the third chain of my beginning chain 6. Before moving on to round 4, I highly recommend that you test your lampshade cover to make sure it fits your lampshade snugly. If it is too loose, I recommend that you start over using a smaller hook. You do not want it to be able to just fall off. You will work the rest of the lampshade cover, repeating rounds 2 and 3 over and over until it reaches the desired length. I usually stop about 1 inch before the bottom so that I can do the last 2 finishing rounds. So just repeat rounds 2 and 3 until you get about 1 inch from the bottom of your lampshade, and you want to end on a round 2 repeat. That is a cluster V-stitch round. Here I have reached the desired length. It's about 1 inch from the bottom, and I have ended on a round 2 repeat, which is the cluster V-stitch here. And the last 2 rounds will actually add about 2 inches, so there will be a little overhang. So again, we are going to start the next round by slip stitching to the center chain space of the cluster V-stitch. Chain 6, like we usually do. That still counts as a double crochet, chain 3 space, and then double crochet in the same space. Chain 3, skip to the next chain 3 space. Here's where it changes. We are going to increase here. So you're going to do your V-stitch like usual. Then you're going to chain 3. And we're going to do another V-stitch. That counts as our increase. If you look at it, it looks like 3 V-stitches, but it is not. It is technically 2 V-stitches separated by a chain 3 space. Now you will chain 3 and skip to the next chain 3 space. Place a V-stitch in that chain space. So we have a V-stitch, an increase, and a V-stitch. So we're going to chain 3 and go to the next chain 3 space. Here we will increase again. So that is a V-stitch, a chain 3 space, and another V-stitch. This is how it should look. You should have a V-stitch every other and an increase every other. So chain 3. We just did an increase, so it's time for our regular V-stitch. So just keep repeating all the way around, doing every other, ending on an increase. Here I am at the end. I've done my increase in my chain 3. I'm going to end the round by slip stitching into the 3rd chain. Now we're going to slip stitch into the V-stitch. Chain 3, make 2 more double crochet. Chain 3, make 3 more double crochet. This will count as a cluster V-stitch. Skip the next chain 3 space and work into the first V-stitch of your increase. We are only going to place 3 double crochet in that chain space. In the next chain 3 space, we are going to work a cluster V-stitch. In the next chain 3 space, we are going to work another 3 double crochet. So you see we have a smaller point and a larger point. Now we're going to skip over the next chain 3 space and work our cluster V-stitch. As you can see, there is a larger point in the center. Now we're skipping over the next chain 3 space and working into the first chain 3 space of our increase. We're going to work just 3 double crochet in that chain 3 space. In the next chain 3 space, we're going to work our cluster V-stitch. Work 3 double crochet in the last chain 3 space of our increase. You should see a pattern developing. In every V-stitch there is a cluster V-stitch, and in every increase there are 3 double crochet flanking every cluster V-stitch. So you'll just continue this all the way around till you get to the last V-stitch. This is what it should look like. You should have a large point and a small point right at the end. Slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 space to end the round. Before you fasten off, I recommend trying it on for size to make sure it fits. You want it to be snug. And you want it to hang down over the bottom just a little bit. Don't worry about it curling up. We are going to put tassels on the larger points, and that will weigh it down and keep the shape. So now you will fasten off and weave in your tails. Now we are going to add tassels to our larger points. You will need to count how many points that is for you. You may have a different size lampshade. For me, that's 8. I'm going to make tassels using just my fingers, but if you have a piece of cardboard, it's about 4 inches wide. I am wrapping my fingers about 20 times per tassel. Now you will cut a length of yarn about 12 inches long. We are going to put this in chain 3 space of the larger point. Insert your hook from back to front. Using the lark's knot, make a fringe. Thread the ends through your yarn needle. Add the bead to the fringe. Open the bottom. Grab your tassel tails and fold them in half. Place them in the center of your fringe tails and tie tightly to secure. Now I'm going to add a piece of yarn around the top so that it doesn't come apart. I really don't measure this, sorry. About a ½ inch from the top, tie around the top. I tie it once in the front and then twice in the back. And then I take those tails and tuck them into the inside of the tassel with my yarn needle. You don't have to do this, but it just looks better. Cut your tassel ends evenly. That's it. I'm going to show you one more time. I'm going to repeat the process using the lark's knot, going from back to front. Tie a piece of fringe. Thread your bead onto the fringe. Open the fringe tails. Place your tassel tails inside in the center. Tie several times to secure. Tie a piece of yarn at the top about a 1/2 inch down to keep the tassel tails from going wild. I tie once in the front and twice in the back. Bring your tassels together and cut them at the same length. Just continue this process in every large point. Your dahlia lampshade is complete. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial today. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching.